Welcome to the Film Florida podcast. I'm John Lux, and I'm the Executive Director of Film Florida. Before we get to our interview, if you're not already a member of Film Florida, please consider joining at filmflorida.org. Please also consider going to our website and donating $20.25 for our 2025 fundraising campaign. Visit the Film Florida merchandise page at filmflorida.creator-spring.com to purchase Film Florida t-shirts, sweatshirts, coffee mugs, and more. All merchandise proceeds go to the Film Florida Filmmaker Grant and Scholarship Fund. South Florida's Marietta Carter-Narcisse is an internationally renowned, very accomplished, award-winning department head, makeup artist, and global educator with more than 30 years in the industry. A few of her credits include Ghost, Boyz in the Hood, Malcolm X, Dangerous Minds, Whitney, Tina, What's Love Got to Do with It, and Beverly Hills Cop III, just to name a few. She's a voting member of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, a member of the Makeup Artists and Hairstylists Guild I.A.T.S.E Local 706, and she runs Marietta's Virtual Makeup Academy, a groundbreaking online training program specifically created for the professional makeup artist and hairstylist to bridge the gap between makeup and hair school and working on set. We talk all of this and more on this episode of the Film Florida podcast. Here's my conversation with Marietta Carter-Narcisse. Welcome to the Film Florida podcast, Marietta.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be on here.
And we are happy to have you. So let's start kind of at the beginning. Give us your backstory. Help the audience get to know you a little bit.
Oh my goodness. Okay. My backstory is a big backstory. I am originally from Barbados, the little island that Rihanna made famous. I came to the United States in 1971 and went to college in New York. For all intents and purposes, I was a pre-med student. And something happened along the way. I mean, I took my MCATs, literally, I took my MCATs twice. I was on the waiting list of medical school, and I worked in a hospital and hated it.
Wow. Okay.
And I've always sewn, so it kind of was like a passion, but never something that, you don't make a living off of it. It's like you're a doctor, you're a lawyer, that's the kind of upbringing I come from.
Mm-hmm.
So sewing was just something I did as a hobby. So the sewing, the makeup, the beauty, all of it was just hobbies. You don't make a living off of a hobby until I realized that you can make a living off of a hobby.
Marietta, you've worked on a number of different projects through the years, and we're going to go back in your career, but I want to talk a little bit about one of your more recent ones. You've worked as a makeup department head on many projects, but one of the more recent ones was Tyler Perry's A Jazz Man's Blues. Talk a little bit about your day-to-day role on the project and some of the challenges with it being a period piece, which you've worked on a number of different types.
Whew. It was with COVID. So, of course, some brain cells are still, I'm sure a lot of brain matter is still left in Atlanta because the COVID testing on a daily basis, This was like just as we were starting to come out of it, but we were still testing quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And it was grueling because it was a period movie, took place in the 40s and the 80s.
Okay.
So, and, we shot probably in 18, 19 days. So some days had no beginning and no end. It was quite a bit of work, especially for the amount of things that we had to cover. We had 5 different locations, so absolutely challenging. Absolutely challenging. I had a staff of, let's see, in the trailer with me, I had 4 additional people, and on the big days, I had anywhere from 10 to maybe 15, 20 people. So it was quite an ordeal to manage. And, Mr. Perry shoots very quickly.
Yes, he does. Now, your career, though, began with your role as an assistant wardrobe stylist on the Commodore's 1983 European tour. Talk a little bit about that experience.
I kind of tagged along to Europe with my younger brother, who is also a union member like myself, and he's a cutter fitter for the Costumers Guild in Los Angeles. So he kind of, we were both in the same industry. But at that time, he was working with the Commodores and making their clothes and road managing for them. He did double, triple roles with them. And I just kind of hung along and went all through Europe with him. Never in a million years did I ever think that this was going to be my career.
Yeah. So that was just a fun vacation that you worked.
On groupie vacation because they were so big at the time, you know. I mean, it
Yeah.
was larger than life for me, but I
Yeah.
had no idea it was a precursor to what I was going to do.
We'll talk about that pivot into working on music videos and eventually films as a career.
Well, I met Natalie Cole through Commodores, and and that led to me getting enough courage to say, you know, Miss Cole, if you ever need anybody to do hair, makeup, or wardrobe, I'm available. And she says, as a matter of fact, I do. I am getting ready to put my tour together and we're going to be leaving soon. And it would be great to have somebody like you on board. And 3 days later, her manager called me and I went down, I met her band. And next thing you know, I'm altering like 30 gowns for her because I could sew. So I was altering, rebeading gowns, et cetera, et cetera. And a couple of days later, flying off to Hawaii with her.
Wow. And that eventually led into you contributing to legendary films for real, like Ghost, Boys in the Hood, Malcolm X, Dangerous Minds, Whitney, Beverly Hills Cop 3. Like those are just kind of some of them. But Boys in the Hood was one of those movies growing up that impacted me more than most and has had an important place in film history. When you were working on that project, did you have any idea what it would become?
I had no idea that it would become such a cult classic.
Yeah.
And John, I got a phone call. Okay, let me backtrack for a second. The Commodores did a music video, Night Shift, the one they won an American Academy Award for. And I met a makeup artist on that set. And that led me into videos and actually into meeting a whole lot of people that helped build my career at that time. So working on Boys in the Hood, I got a phone call one day that said, hey, we heard about you and we're sending you a script. That's when scripts used to be delivered. And we're sending you a script. We want you to read the script and tell us what you think and see if you consider doing it. I thought, oh my goodness, I've come that far already. And I read it, went in for an interview, and it was just one of those things. John Singleton and I clicked, and it was a really exciting time. We had such a great time filming that movie. You know, we had such a great time filming that movie. It was tough, but it was fun at the same time, you know? So I really, really enjoyed that.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a serious, important movie, but give us a lighthearted, fun kind of behind the scenes story about working on the film.
Oh, let's see if I can think of something. I don't even know. I can't even think of anything that's lighthearted. Let's see.
Okay, maybe not lighthearted, but just something that gives people a
Actually,
sense of what it was like.
actually, you know what's funny is that I rented my car to the production of company. I just bought a brand new Volvo, and I rented my car to production, and they parked it in the driveway of Nia Long's house for her mom's car.
Uh-huh. So your car was an extra.
My car was an extra.
Do you still get residuals for that? I don't know.
My car was an extra
Uh,
for that, you know.
Now, I grew up on the Beverly Hills Cop franchise. I remember watching the first one with my dad and then the excitement when Beverly Hills Cop 2 came out and going to see that in the theaters and the same for 3. Talk about the pressure of working on an established franchise like that.
Okay, Beverly Hills Cop was one of those movies that my same friend that I met on the Commodore's music video, she did the makeup for TV episodic, it was called Dream On. And John Landis directed the original episode of Dream On. And he was looking, he said, I'm looking for someone to do the makeup on Beverly Hills Cop 3. And she recommended me. And he said, well, what has she done? And the first movie she got out of her mouth was Malcolm X. He said, if she can do Malcolm X, I don't need to interview anybody else. Job's hers. That's how I got hired in that movie.
Wow.
And it was a great experience. You know, it was a lot of work, but it was fun. We shot in Los Angeles and in Northern California. And it was great working with John Landis because John Landis was such an icon at the time,
Sure.
you know.
Yeah.
So it was great working with him, and with Eddie Murphy. And I didn't do Eddie Murphy. Eddie had his own personal makeup artist. I department headed the show and ran the show. So I did all the other people, but not Eddie.
Yeah, I suspect he had his own staff at that time.
Yeah, he did. He
Yeah.
most definitely did because he was larger than life.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, you've described your approach as character-driven storytelling through makeup. Walk us through how you build a character's visual evolution from script to on-screen presence.
What a great question. I find that you have to find the backstory of the character, socioeconomic status, what they do for a living, where they went to school, did they smoke, drink, party a lot? Do they have kids? Do they work out? So it's kind of like what part of the country do they live? Because all of it goes in to that invisible makeup. Because when you get that backstory, it allows you to really build from nothing all the way through to glamour or effects, depending on what it is. But knowing the backstory really makes a difference. For example, when I did Tina, What's Love Got to Do with It? Interviewing Tina Turner, 8 hours of interviews
Wow.
to find out what's the best way to do all the cuts and bruises and the broken nose and all the things that she had going on with Ike. And she explained to me that she sat in the limo always to Ike's right. So he elbowed her a lot, you know? So it's like little things like that that you don't see, but knowing it helps you build all the character. Jazzman's Blues, young lady abandoned by her mom. So she looks disheveled initially. So finding out her whole story, and then the mom comes for her and takes her up north, and she's now gone from being unpolished to completely polished and sophisticated,
Mm.
you know, passing for white at that time. So putting all of that into the makeup to make her look clean and flawless and polished from like a ragamuffin. So all of those little nuances make a huge difference in what you put in to the makeup. And when you do your job correctly and you develop the characters properly, it seems as though you've done nothing. And that's the tricky part. Like even like Diana Ross and Out of Darkness, to convince Diana to literally not wear any makeup and have a no makeup look in the beginning of the show was really tough because I had to explain to her, you just came out of a mental institution. So you can't be like, oh, you are on stage. It's not going to work. So we have to evolve it so that when she goes out on her first date, now you can see the transition. Because if I start high, I have no place to go. So you
Mhm.
have to start and build. And everything's scripted. And if it's not scripted, then you have to have a heavy conversation with the director, the script supervisor, and the actor so that you can evolve the character the way it's supposed to be to make it believable. Because film, unlike day-to-day makeup, the whole point is taking you through the character's growth and experience. So we tell the story. We're filmmakers, so we tell the story through the evolution of that makeup.
That is a fascinating answer that I would have never imagined. I mean, I bet most people don't even think about what the makeup is as it evolves through a film like you do. That's an amazing answer.
Thank you. Yeah, I think most people equate makeup for film and television, a powder puff and some lipstick. They don't see how we go through that backstory. I mean, when I'm breaking a script down, I am literally looking for all the telltale signs of the person as a human being because it can't look like I came to their house in the morning and did the makeup before they went to work. So it's not doing makeup to look like perfection, it's doing it to make it look like the character did it themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really interesting. Now, work encompasses a wide range of makeup artistry, from period pieces, as we talked about, to special effects. For those that may not be familiar with the process, talk a little bit about the training required on the varied styles that you go through.
I teach fundamentals of makeup at Cosby School of Makeup Artistry. I've been teaching for decades. and I teach film. So I teach them how to break the script down. You got to learn how to read the script, break it down, and it requires a certain amount of training. You just don't get up and decide, okay, I'm going to do makeup for film. You have to understand the nuances of a no makeup look, where the character is in full makeup, but it looks like they wearing absolutely nothing. They just look like they get rolled out of bed and did nothing. Two, the characters evolving and going out. So using the right, basically what the director has got up in their heads, using that director's vision and trying to bring it to life as best as you possibly can. So you need to train to learn how to do these different looks, how to match the skin tone properly, how to do, if you have to do a ball cap, how to apply that ball cap, especially now with today's technology. It's critical to know how to apply it and all the nuances and colors that go into underneath the skin that you see when a head is shaved bald.
Mm-hmm.
So all of those little things, if a cut, a bruise, how old is the bruise? A black eye, how old is that? So is it a new bruise or is it a 3-day-old bruise? So you have to know all the nuances and color changes that go on to create that black eye or that bruise. The aging process of it, a bullet, is it an entry wound or an exit wound? So you have to know, understand. So you have to train with the prosthetics to know how to apply it properly, how to work with the DP in the lighting aspect of it so that the mustache you put on or the prosthetic piece you put on isn't glaring at the audience. So how to camouflage all of that. So it requires specific training to
Yeah.
do all those nuances and stuff. It's not just, oh, I'm gonna pick up a powder puff and a makeup brush and I'm good at that. No, it requires specific in-depth training and practice.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. Now, you noted that Malcolm X was among the most challenging jobs you had due to the period detail and transformation, especially for Denzel Washington. What was the biggest creative or technical challenge that you uncovered on this project?
Phew, which one? There were so many. Making Denzel look like Malcolm was really very difficult. Different facial structure altogether, different eye color. Malcolm has my eye colors. So the challenge was, how do I bring it to life and make it believable without being distracting? And the different hair color. Malcolm had sandy blonde hair. So to make Denzel sandy blonde with light eyes would be really distracting to the audience based off of Denzel's complexion.
Mm-hmm.
So I find in doing this kind of period work, it requires developing the essence of that person. So we opted not to put contacts in Denzel's eyes, keep the glasses Malcolm has. Instead of making Denzel's hair blonde or sandy blonde, make it more auburn to flattering his complexion. So now you're not distracted by hair color. It's more appealing to Denzel's complexion. So these are the little nuances that go in that you don't see. But if I had made it blonde, it would be distracting on camera to the audience because they wouldn't be able to concentrate because they're going to be like, what is that? So you have to evolve the character and create the nuances that are not going to distract the audience, but yet make it believable by creating the essence of that person, especially some kind of historic figure. So I had multiple challenges.
Well, I mean, hair and makeup, from listening to you, it seems like it is the ultimate. If people notice your work, then you did something wrong.
Yes. Yes. Most of if you're fixated on something when you're watching a movie, we didn't do our jobs.
Yeah.
When you watch it seamlessly, we've done our jobs. But the moment you're hooked on something, chances are something is off.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned you're an educator and you run Marietta's Virtual Makeup Academy, offering courses like reading scripts, continuity, union navigation, and on location prep. What gap were you trying to fill in the industry when you decided to start this education process?
From school to the set. When you're coming out of school, theoretically, this is what it's supposed to be. So I take all of that and add it to what really is supposed to be. Real life scenarios from experiences of being on set. So I try to help you bridge that gap. because you need something to bridge you before you just go onto the set, like learning the terminology. It's like every industry has its own terminology. So you need the terminology of the industry when you first walk on, because you're going to really stumble. And sometimes people aren't helpful because they expect you when you're coming on to at least have some inkling of what you're supposed to be doing. So I have a terminology book
Mm,
that helps you navigate all that terminology and learning who's who, knowing the hierarchy of who you're working with,
mhm.
because it's critical to understand the hierarchy of who you're working with and stuff. So that's what I teach you, and how to break a script down. You got to know how to break a script down, because that's everything. That's everything. How to read a call sheet. The call sheet is your daily Bible. You need to at least know how to read the call sheet so you know what time to get there, where you're going, who you're working with, what actors you're doing, all of the above. So that's your daily Bible. So I teach you how to do all of that.
Yeah, it's obviously very needed. Now, you also hold a master's degree in higher education. Where did this passion for education originate?
Oh, I think when I first came to the United States, I was really good in math. And I started tutoring kids. And it just kind of propelled from there. Then I went from tutoring in math and to teaching how to sew, how to make clothes.
That's interesting. Now, you've taught master classes internationally as well, and were a master educator for makeup for Evers Film and Television Academy in France. How do you adapt your teaching to different cultures and different industry expectations?
Whew. Um, First I had an interpreter. And it's kind of a beauty is an international language of its own, like music. So the basics don't change in any language. It really doesn't. So it's matching skin tones, I find, and is the most challenging for most people learning how to do makeup. So it's literally elevating their skill level so that they can perform seamlessly. So they're not struggling. Matching all those challenges. That's the hard part.
Yeah.
It's taking what they already know and propelling it to a different level.
Yeah, good, good. You've earned a lot of accolades, like a makeup artist and hairstylist guild nomination for Whitney. How do these types of acknowledgments inspire you and influence your ongoing career goals?
Whew, they just keep me motivated, They keep you motivated because a lot of what we do is thankless. It really is. Because most people don't see what we go through to run a show. When I have 50 people working under me, people can't conceptualize of that, because most people can't conceptualize of makeup for film. When you tell people you do makeup, they automatically assume you do makeup at a department store. They can't conceptualize of you taking a character and building it all the way through, that you have to read a script. When you run a show, you have to read a script, you have to budget, you have to know how to hire and fire people, you have to know how to delegate, you have to be dependable, reliable. Because some days the production's got $2-3 million riding on you. No is not an acceptable answer. It's finding a way to get it done. It's so many different things. It's management.
Hmm.
It's management. It's paperwork. I do time cards. I have to fill out time cards. I have to do so much paperwork for production. So it's so much more than just the physical application of makeup. You have to be organized. When I go into a trailer, I could send Stevie Wonder into my makeup trailer to find what I'm looking, what I need. So it's all of those things. It's so much more. You're a leader, you're a team leader,
Hmm.
and you hold a certain amount of responsibility and accountability.
And now, at a certain point, sometimes do you just say, you know what, I just want to go back to doing hair and makeup on somebody. I don't want to deal with all of the administrative stuff.
No, because I'm good at this end of it.
Okay,
I'm good at this end of it. I don't praise myself enough, but I'm good at this end of it. And I take a lot of pride in doing it and doing it correctly.
good, good. Now, you're also a voting member of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, the Television Academy, along with being a member of the Makeup Artist and Hairstylist Guild, I.A.T.S.E 706. Tell us a little bit about more of your experiences with both of those organizations.
I got into the union doing a movie called Her Alibi, starring Tom Selleck and Paulina Poroskova. So I got into the union in 1980, I want to say 88, 89. And then back then we had to take a union test
Ah,
for makeup, 6-hour grueling test for makeup artistry to go from a entry-level makeup artist to a journeyman, because only as a journeyman can you department head a show. So, and I got in at a time when very few Black women were running shows, very, very few. Can count on one hand, because film is different than television at that time. They were separated. There was no interchange in film and television. So I got in during that time. And I worked really hard to build myself up as just a makeup artist who can do anybody. And I was recommended to the Academy through Ben Nye Jr., makeup artist, and a sound mixer, Russell Williams. And I got accepted in the Academy as a voting member of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, which was very difficult. I'm the first Black makeup artist to get into the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. And it took 20 years before a second one got in.
wow. I didn't know that.
Took 20 years for somebody else to get in, because you have to have department headed X amount of shows and not just work as a personal. So when I worked as a personal, I also tried to department head the show, because they had very, very specific criteria for you to qualify as a department head. You got to remember, makeup artists were only men, not women.
Really?
Yes, makeup artists in Hollywood were only men, not women. Women did not get into Local 706, which is our union, until the late 60s, early 70s, because of a federal mandate that says you have to open up to women and minorities, non-white men. So everybody else prior to that were all men, no women.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a whole history of Hollywood. Yeah.
Checkered as it is.
Yeah.
Now, do you have a preference between television versus film?
Well, I built my career in film because you couldn't
Yeah.
switch.
Right.
Resume was a strong film resume. Even though I did television, I was never really hired a whole lot for TV. Two completely different things at the time. You didn't really flip-flop very much.
Interesting.
I
Yeah.
built my career in film. I love working in film. And television, different, because episodic television is a whole different element. Like now, what we have more than film is all the episodic television, which is all the series that we see because of streaming media.
Right.
So it run very differently. The pace is completely different to film.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm fascinated by this. So I'm sure our audience is. Where can our audience learn more about you and keep up with everything you're doing? Websites, social media, anything like that?
On social media, I'm Marietta CN on Instagram, and I think on TikTok. And on Facebook, my full name, Marietta Carter-Narcisse. It's a mouthful, I know. My website is my name, Marietta Carter-Narcisse, Marietta Carter-Narcisse. That hyphen is in between the two.com, and mvma.education. And you can purchase my little brown book on MariettaCarter-Narcisse.com.
Excellent. Excellent. A lot of different places to keep up with you, which is great.
Social media is here to stay, so you try to explore all of it.
Yes. Well, Marietta, I sincerely appreciate you being with us today to share your story and all those great stories from all the projects you've worked on. Thanks so much for being on the Film Florida podcast.
Thank you, John, for having me. I really, really was excited to be on here.
Thanks for listening to the Film Florida podcast. For more information about Film Florida, go to filmflorida.org and like or follow our social media pages. If you're not already a member of Film Florida, please consider joining at filmflorida.org. Please also consider going to our website and donating $20.25 for our 2025 fundraising campaign. Check out the Film Florida merchandise at filmflorida.creator-spring.com, and please remember to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast.